Hey guys, how you going? I just thought I'd make another video about just reminding you guys about the importance of doing your morning routine. So I started doing the morning routine with you guys a couple of months ago, and like I know from my own experience, but also just from the people that have been doing it regularly, that it is making a big difference if you do it regularly. So the whole point of why you want to make sure you're doing your morning routine and you're not skipping it is that, like, everyone knows that mindset's important, but if you can know it's important, but if you're not like training it, well, what does it matter? It's just you're not doing anything about it. So it's the same as like having a goal of getting stronger or losing weight or whatever, but you're just not actually taking the steps that will get you there. So if you're skipping your morning routine, you're not training your mind. Period. You're not even training your mind. You're just sort of hoping that everything sort of works out in your favor, and we all know how that goes. Life just likes to throw you curveballs. So even if this is the other thing I got to address. It's like you don't have to be in this place where like there's something wrong. If you are like waiting for, oh wait, I need to wait for things to fall apart, and then I'll start doing it, then it's important. It's like, no, it's too late by then. You don't have the reinforcement, the strength. Like, it'll help, but you want to be reinforcing it and making your brain and your mind strong now, regardless of where you are, so that when shit hits the fan, so to speak, you can mentally deal with it. Because the guys that have been doing it, sticking with it regularly, this is what I'm noticing, is that the guys that have been doing it regularly, if they do it regularly, when problems show up, what's happening is when we come to do measurements or goals or whatever like that, they'll tell you like how they had problems, but they'll also then tell you like their whole demeanor is like, oh, this happened, but then I got over it, and then I made this happen, and then blah. So they're like solving their own problems like on the fly. Wait, shush. They're solving their problems on the fly. The people that aren't doing it, when they show up to do measurements and goals and all the rest of it, it's just like, oh no, nothing happened because of blah 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 blah, and they just sit there and just comment. This is running commentary about things that happened to them, and it's like, yeah, so like, and then what? Like, it's the first thing I'm asking now is like, have you been doing your morning routine? And guess what the answer always came back as? No. Like, it's like, well, do you see the parallel? Like, of course, because you weren't doing your morning routine, you weren't actually focusing your mind and learning how to train your brain to process when life happens to you. Of course you flipped out as soon as, like, you know, a few little problems came along the way, or you got a bit stressed, or something changed in your routine, because you mentally can't adapt to it. So don't feel like you need to wait for something to be wrong before you start doing it. You need to train your mind now. It's just like any other muscle. I'll give this example. Like, let's just say, theoretically, for some weird reason, someone decided to hold a gun to your head and say, you need to do 10 bodyweight chin-ups, or I'm going to blow your head off. Now, if you haven't been doing, like, any chin-ups, you haven't been doing chin-ups or training or anything like that, what's going to happen? You're going to die. He's going to blow your head off because you have no conditioning to do 10 chin-ups. It's completely unrealistic. Of course you're not going to be able to do it. So the thing is, though, if you've been like training and working at doing chin-ups, and then this dude comes along and says, oh, do 10 chin-ups, I'm going to blow your head off. You're just like, yeah, all right, no problem. Like, you're not panicked. You're not, yeah, of course I can do chin-ups. Of course, why wouldn't I do that? Like, it's easy. Yeah, because you've been training for it. It's easy. It's, if you're not training for it, you're dead. Like, really simple, really basic. Like, you're not going to make it. So it's really important that you're not skipping this. Okay, make sure you do it, because I'll break down the steps. So you've got the opening part, which is breathing. So a couple of minutes of breathing. That's just learning how to control your nervous system. Everyone's like really agitated and stressed all the time. Well, guess what? You can learn to be relaxed whenever you want to be. You don't need medication or pills or weird stuff. You can learn how to do it just by breathing. So learn how to control your nervous system by breathing. Second one, the gratitude. Like, it sort of the opening stages tie in with what's happening at the end. So I'll explain the process. So gratitude, you need to start to learn how to make yourself mentally and emotionally positive, like consciously choosing to do it. So being grateful for what you have, because sometimes your life situation might not be so good, but there is positives, you need to find them. Or you might actually be pretty happy with where you are, but you're still trying to move towards these other goals. So you don't have to identify with like, oh, what I've got right now is crap, but you can be grateful for what you've got right now and still move towards something else. So then it helps to like start to lift up your emotional state. Then the third part, so love. So that's like, might sound a bit airy-fairy, but again, it's more just bringing up more positive emotions and focusing on the people that you do care about, you know, and really getting outside yourself, like focusing on having those emotions for yourself, but helping to get outside yourself and actually go, wow, I do care for that person, like that person is important. So again, it's like raising up your emotional energy, so it's becoming positive. And the whole point of raising it up is so that these last two steps are more powerful. So intention. So how are you going to be that day? So we've already discussed a whole bunch of times that the default setting for the human brain is negative. Your default setting is negative, all right? If you're not training yourself to be positive, your default setting is negative. Things could still be going your way in life, and your default setting is still negative. That's just the way it is. It's just the way the human brain works. I'm not going to talk about that right now. Your default setting is negative. So your intention is where you get to decide how you're going to be that way, that day. Sorry. Are you going to be positive and energetic and open-minded? Or if you don't choose to do these things and be consciously aware of, no, wait, I'm actually optimistic, and you're going into the day focusing on this, by default, you're negative. You're just on autopilot, just bouncing around, just doing whatever you do in the day. People are talking and you're just like, oh, you're an idiot, and like, that's how your day goes. Like, choose how your day's going to go. That's the intention part. But see, the intention part doesn't work unless you've made yourself positive, or else it's just like this rote routine, like, yeah, I'm going to be happy today. You don't feel happy because you've just woken up and you're like, oh man, another day. So you've got to start to train yourself to be able to raise up your emotional energy so you actually feel positive, so that when you start to make the intention of, yeah, I'm going to be like this, you can actually feel it. And then the same thing with your goals. Like, if you're not reading your goals at the very, very end and doing the visualization of your goals, like this end state that you're shooting for, well, one, you don't even know if you're off track. If you're not reading your goals, you don't know what they are. You're just caught up in life. You're just caught up in, oh, I've got to go shopping and pick the kids up and what have I got to do? Like, you're not even aware of your goals. Like, again, same thing when I sit down with people and I'm like going through the goal sheet. I'm like, how'd you go with this one? And they're just like, no, I haven't done it. And they're like, have you been reading your goal sheet? No. Well, why would you suddenly like just remember to do all these like random extra activities that will actually get your goals done if they're not already part of your normal routine? If they're not part of your normal routine, you won't do them. And if you're not reminding yourself to do them, you won't do them. Which means that you just end up living Groundhog Day. It's like 8 weeks later. Hey, have you achieved any of your goals? No. It's like, well, duh. Of course you haven't, because you haven't actually been reminding yourself, no, wait, I need to actually go walking, or I need to do chin-ups, or I need to read a book, or whatever it is. And also the visualization, again, it's helping you to see something occurring ahead of time, because you're stuck with what you have right now, which isn't the end state. It might be you're 5 kilos too heavy, or whatever it might be. So you're using your imagination, because your brain prefers images. It prefers images. If you can learn to train to yourself to like basically have basically focused daydreaming, if you want to look at it like that, like your brain responds to that. You're actually programming your brain to believe that this end state, which doesn't exist yet, is actually happening right now, because your brain can't tell the difference. It doesn't know. I know this sounds weird, I can't be going into detail about it, but that's just the way it is. Like, if you can imagine it, and you can literally just train your brain to think that this future occurrence, this future you, that doesn't actually exist yet, exists right now. And if you do this often enough, and it's just a one-off thing, if you're just doing it once and then not following it up, it doesn't work. It's the chin-up thing all over again. You can't just do one chin-up and be like, oh, cool, one chin-up. Yeah, great. Like, so what? If you don't keep practicing that one chin-up, eventually you'll go to 0 chin-ups. So keep practicing the imagery, and it literally teaches your subconscious mind to believe that it's happening right now, which means that it actually starts to feed it back to your conscious mind. So that's when you start to become naturally more positive. You'll always have that negative taint in your brain. It's always there, but you'll start to naturally become more optimistic, more likely to push harder towards things, take on bigger goals, not be so overwhelmed, blah, 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 because you've been training your brain with this process and learning how to control your stress levels, emotions, and mental imagery, learning how to control these things to train your brain just like a muscle to work for you instead of against you. Okay, so if you've been skipping your morning routine, start doing it again. I can't make you do it. You've got to do it yourself. And it's worth it, because the people that are really sticking with this, they talk differently, they act differently. To be around them, they're much more positive people to be around. And the people that aren't doing it, they're the ones, it's just, you can tell it's like their day-to-day existence, it's like they're headbutting a wall. And you can pick it up when you talk to them. You can tell that it's like they're just smashing their head into a wall over and over and over again. Well, if you don't want to keep smashing your head into a wall, start doing the morning routine. Don't skip it. All right? So anyway, that's enough from me. I'll catch up with you guys a bit later. Don't skip your routine.